Hey, 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 everybody. Good morning. Good morning. It's Karen. Happy Monday. Y'all know it's time for Monday Morning Jumpstart. Get up. It's time to get going. We've got another week ahead of us, you guys. And guess what? It's a brand new start. I know you got a lot going on. Guess what? I do too. I'll tell you about my rough weekend in a minute. But in the meantime, I am so excited to see you guys. And I've got my crew, my squad here with me this morning, and we're about to get after it. Whatever it is, shake it off. We got a brand new slate, a brand new blank canvas to start all over. And I am super excited to start our Monday with you. Hey, everybody. Hey, Pastor Andy Smith. What's going on?
Sorry about that. I got muted. Hey, good morning, Karen. So good to be back on. Thank you for having me back. It's Monday,
good to
but it's gonna be a good day today. Yeah, good to see you too.
Yeah, what did you do this weekend?
Oh, well, spent some time with the family, which was really good. And then just preparation for Sunday. You know, Sundays are big days for me and my family, and just got to spend some time with some incredible people. So it was a win Sunday, a win weekend for us.
Awesome. Jeff Bull coming at us at the crack of dawn. What's going on, buddy?
All kinds of fun stuff. How about you?
I'm good. It's good to see you.
You too.
Yeah. And then Lawrence Henderson. What's up?
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Happy Monday.
Good to see you. Yes. How was your weekend? What'd you do?
Oh, I did a whole lot of PhD homework and knocked out some stuff, some projects that are coming up. So super pumped, super excited, busy, all that good stuff. But hey, ready to rock a Monday, ready to rock another week.
We got the doctor in the house. I like it. Kim Dudash, what's up, sis?
Good morning. I'm doing great this morning. Happy to be here on a Monday morning with you guys. Best way to start the day, right?
Come on.
Yeah.
We got the crew in the house, and I'm excited because we're going to be talking about, we're going to extend the conversation that we had last week where we were talking about the imposter syndrome. I can't wait to get into this, y'all. We may be here for like 3 hours. I'm just saying, I know we're not supposed to go that long, but whatever, because I need this morning. I'm just saying I need it. So I want to say good morning to all of you in the live stream this morning. Hey, Jerry King, Kim Dudash, do you see that? Our buddy Jerry King is in the house.
Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, bro. I love you so much. I miss you. I'm hoping I'll get a chance to see you maybe sometime soon. I'm not going to spill the beans, but anyway, it's good to see you in here, Jerry. Nicole Alford, what? Girl, hey. I see you in here. And come on, Pastor Andy Smith, we got to do the whoop for Christy.
I know. I was sitting there
thinking,
man, I got all stars on the chat this morning. Come on.
Check out the next one. Amanda Henderson. Yay,
Amanda! Come on. We need to see your gorgeous husband in here too. Where is he? He's probably somewhere like taking a picture of some celebrity somewhere doing something amazing. I know he is. Anyway, it's good to see everybody. Good morning. You know how we do it. Grab your coffee, your tea, your bullet coffee, your water, your Gatorade, whatever it is. Oh my gosh. What does that say, Jeff?
Yeah, I need that
coffee. That's what I'm talking about right there. We're working on some like mugs. We're going to like send everybody a mug or something like that because we all need to be doing it together, right? Amanda says, Zach is asleep. Come on. Really? Oh, he did a live stream last night. Okay. We're doing it together, right? That's right. Well, listen, we've got a lot to cover. If you are brand new to this community, I want to say welcome. We stream live right here every Monday as a way to inspire, encourage, and equip professionals and entrepreneurs and life leaders to get focused, connect to your purpose, and develop the perspective that you're going to need to do life on your own terms. Okay. Anybody, can I get an amen? I don't know about you, but whether you're in corporate or whether you're an entrepreneur, or maybe you're CEO or COO of your own home, I don't care what it is you do, you can do life on your own terms. And that doesn't always mean leaving where you are. Sometimes it means staying right where you are. Doing life on your own terms has to do with the mindset that you take on to live life to the fullest. Can I get an amen? That's good, y'all. That means that no more like exhaustion. You're excited about getting up. You've connected to how to pull your purpose and your passions into what you're doing or what it is you want to do. I mean, who doesn't want that? Everybody wants that. I know I do. So we have 3 pillars: get focused, connect to your purpose, and develop perspective. So somewhere along the journey, everything that we do, our tools, our resources, our communities, our communications, all of that is designed to help fuel whatever's next for you. Good stuff, right? And we've got this amazing community that I'm going to go around the room and just have everybody introduce themselves so you know what you're in for today as we talk about the one step past the imposter syndrome. I'm going to have my amazing panel here break it down for us. But Pastor Andy Smith, good morning again. Would you do us a huge favor and just introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your life, what you're doing right now, and and then do me a favor, define the imposter syndrome.
Well, Andy Smith, I'm currently pastoring Influencers Kennesaw in Kennesaw, Georgia, and I teach online at Lee University, as well as some different speaking engagements as they arise, just trying to help people become who they were created to be and discover the relational beauty and wonder of Christ, right? And so it's kind of a hodgepodge of what I do. And I've got an amazing family, a beautiful wife, 2 amazing daughters, and joys of my life. And so the imposter syndrome, right? It's this idea that I project something to everyone else that I'm not when I'm alone with just myself. And so the tension is sometimes I have this wrestle between feeling like I'm a fraud when I give you one view of myself and then have to live in the context of my own life. And so it creates a duplicity of thought that makes me feel like I'm not worthy to continue down the path I feel passionate about.
Wow. That's deep. And you know what? I think everybody watching this knows exactly what you're talking about. We've all had those moments where there's a gremlin, we call them gremlins in the coaching community, or there's a little person, an imaginary friend, or a voice or something like that whispers, you remember what happened the last time you opened your mouth? or whatever it is for you, when you step out to do something, there's some sort of doubt that whispers to you, I wouldn't do that if I were you. That voice, that thing, that whisper happens to a majority of us. In fact, depending on what studies you read, it's up to 80% of people deal with the imposter syndrome. You're in good company. Listen to me. My weekend was a mess. Okay? It was just a mess. I got some news I didn't want to hear. I was starting to feel courageous. And then I started to shrink back. I started to feel a little weak in the knees. It happens. We're going to get into it, but I want to hear first from Jeff Bull. Would you just say hey and introduce your awesome self to this community?
Good morning, everybody. So Jeff Bull, I do sort of leadership and coaching. I'm starting to embrace that more.
Come on.
I'm working on it. Do leadership and coaching for folks today. Currently, I do a lot of that at my company I work at. I work at Cisco. I'm an engineering manager for Cisco, but I focus a lot on how to help folks, especially early in career, people in the tech industry, as well as people in the middle of their career, figure out how to take that next career step. And more importantly, how to figure out what their passions actually are and bring those with them to work so they can actually be their unique self when they're at work. And I think a lot of that relates very specifically to the whole idea of the imposter syndrome. The way that I like to think about it is the imposter syndrome is sort of that over embracing of an alter ego when you come into work. That over embracing of that alter ego prevents you from bringing your passions with you to what you do, so that you are showing up really with a mask on, that like metaphorical Guy Fawkes mask when you show up every day. So you're not yourself, you just show up as something else. And a quick story I actually just remembered that helped like put this in like very physical perspective is when I worked at my last company, there was a gal who worked there. We couldn't show tattoos. We couldn't, like, it was a financial company, long sleeve shirts, all that sort of thing. And there was a gal who worked there, always wore long dresses, always wear long sleeve cardigans constantly. And it was fine. I just happened to see her all the time. And I was like, I couldn't tell the way she behaved. She was very quiet. Is this like a religious thing or something? I'm like, it was a very particular way she dressed. And then I saw her outside of the office one day at like a coffee shop in like shorts and a t-shirt from the gym. And she was head to toe, full bodysuit covered in ink, completely covered in tattoos. I'm like, oh, she's just completely having to hide who she is when she's at work. And I'm like, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
So it's just a good reminder for myself of like, you don't ever want to be that. You don't ever want to cover yourself up.
Wow. There's so much in that. We could do a whole show on just that. That's so deep. Great story. We're glad to have you, Coach Jeff. I'm here for it. Can we say hey to Miss Kim Dudash? How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Doing fantastic. Happy to be here with you guys.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about you, your world, and what's going on with you.
All right. There's a lot going on in my world. First of all, I am an executive coach, and I work with executives who want to increase their self-awareness and create strategies to grow and show up differently in the world every day. That's what I love to do. And then on the other side, the flip side of my world, I am a farmer. So my husband and I, we own and operate Dudash Farms in beautiful East Tennessee. And we sell grass-fed beef and pork to our community. So yeah, and we do that because we want to provide for our community the same types of products that our family wants to consume. So this weekend I really took some time to relax, went out on the lake for a little while, went up to the mountains for a little while. So just enjoying all the beauty around us. So it was good. Yeah.
Awesome. We're so glad to have you here. Kim is an amazing executive coach, and you can find all of her amazing farming goodness at Dudash Farms. Kim, real quickly, what's your website? Because I want to make sure we get that out there.
Great. So for Dudash Farms, the website is dudashfarms.com. And then Dudash Executive Coaching, our web address is dudashexecutivecoaching.com. So thank you, Karen.
Awesome. You're welcome. Well, we want to support you. And one of the things about this amazing community is that we support each other. There are plenty of celebrities out there. And maybe one day Kim will become famous when she gets on Oprah, and she'll reach back and just say hi to more people. Yeah. But until then, we support each other.
That's
and then
right.
I saved the best for last. We got Dr. Lawrence Henderson in the house. I'm prophesying right there.
There we go.
Okay. Hey, Lawrence, how you doing? Glad to have you. Tell us a little bit about who you are in your world.
Oh, well, I am Lawrence E. Henderson Jr., my government name. I am a organizational leadership and development coach. All that means is I bridge the gap between where people believe they're stuck to where they desire to be. And I help them develop their own breadcrumbs so that they can pick them up, and so they get sticky and things happen for them the way that they desire them to happen. And the reason why I love this work is because at the end of the day, I always tell people I am my first client, and I was that person. And so my life and the way that I experience things are true for me and where I'm currently at. And the reason why I love this topic in the transition of what's next, not that we overcome the imposter syndrome, but we fight with the two wars, the wars between I'm going to take the first step and try or versus the war that if I take a step, I'm going to fail. And so when we have these two wars constantly happening within ourselves, Depending on, it could be a Monday, it could be a Tuesday, it could be in the middle of the day, which one wins. And so it's for us that we constantly have to show up, stay present to what we're feeling while we're feeling it, and name and claim it, and put things where they need to go.
Amazing. Okay, you guys, you can see we've got a boss panel of experienced leaders and coaches. This is not the time to stay silent. I need y'all to jump into the comments. And listen, if you're new, just put in the comments, #new. If you are part of the squad, then just put #squad. Like if this is like your place, like you show up every Monday, we want to know that you're here. We are super excited to have you here. And like I said, we're going to be talking about the one step past the imposter syndrome. And there are a couple of reasons why that's important. You know what? One of the things that happens right now, especially during quarantine, this global pandemic that nobody was expecting, is we tend to play small. We tend to feel afraid. The things that we used to take for granted, like we just show up, right? Pastor Andy, you showed up at your church and you were like, come on, let's do this, right? You had some swagger. We knew it. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh, hold on a second. You can't go into your building. You can't hug people. You can't lay hands on people, whatever, right? Jeff, Lawrence, Kim, we would go into the office. We'd meet our clients. We'd do those things. We can't do that anymore. We can't hug the people that we love or know. We can't see our friends. We can't do any of those things. I'm like, hold on a second. Wait a minute. I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't go to school for that, right? Or maybe we've got people that we work with that we have to lay off, or that we have to say, hey, listen, we can't pay you as much. And somehow we've still got to get up in front of those people and lead them. Listen to me. I'm not trying to be awkward. I'm just preaching right now. This is good stuff, because this is what we're dealing with every day. And you know what happens? We draw back. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't talk to that person. Or something like, I don't know, a little thing called civil unrest happens. And then we don't want to, or we don't know how to speak to people that we've spoken to every single day. That happens. That causes us to doubt ourselves, to feel like, you know what, maybe I'm not equipped to lead. Okay, I just want to make it real quick. Pastor Andy Smith, can you talk to us a little bit about like all of this stuff that was happening? We kind of talked about it last week, but I just want to bring it forward a little bit. You know, when the pandemic hit, it was like we all felt afraid. And so for full disclosure, so you know, a part of where my crazy comes from, Pastor Andy Smith is my pastor. But anyway, you know, we all felt a little bit afraid, right? We were like, you want me to get online and do church? Like what? No. And then the civil unrest happened, and tribe, like family, we were like, I don't know. Do I speak to them? Do I not speak to them? Do I ask? Do I not ask? And you know what? It was just a mess. That's real, isn't it, Pastor Andy Smith?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what happened is during this pandemic and this civil unrest, a lot of underlying masked issues were unearthed. And what happened is we didn't really address these issues. We just ignored them, and we could ignore them without any social or financial or personal consequence. So what we thought we had built a bridge, and then all of a sudden things blew up, or we thought they blew up. And there's a difference between something being attacked and something revealed. And a lot of times we get confused that, oh, I'm being attacked. No. You're just having things revealed. And so what we really want to do is preserve ignorance, and we want to go back to preserve what we would call innocence, but it's really just being naive. And so now that it's unearthed, it feels equal to an attack, because the same emotions, the same feelings, the same thoughts processes just react out of us. And so now all of a sudden, you were my brother. Nope, you're not my brother now. But wait a minute, nothing changed. It's just things were revealed. And wait a minute, I thought the silence was agreement. No, it wasn't agreement. It was just simply that we didn't have to talk about it and address it. And so that created this huge, and what I say a lot is we're having to rebuild a bridge that we had already built, or we're really having to rebuild a bridge that we never had, because now all of a sudden we have less margin, we have less emotional capacity, and everything is, this cancel culture. Everything is if you have an opinion that's different than mine, then you are somebody that I cannot learn from, I cannot walk with, and I can't be in relationship with. And so we are in extremes. So this makes it very difficult now to where we live in culture to be able to figure out how do we then continue with what we had planned in a world that doesn't look like anything we had built it around before.
Come on. I don't know about you, but we could end the show right there. That's deep, right? I mean, we weren't being attacked. Things were being revealed. That, y'all, is called #wisdom. That is like the big boy and big girl stuff of our generation. But talk to me for a second, Lawrence Henderson, about how what's happening to us in this time has caused us to feel like, you know what, maybe I'm not qualified. Maybe I'm not as ready as I thought I was. Maybe I need to go back to the drawing board. This isn't the time to start a business. Nobody's buying anything. I mean, people are just kind of hiding. Yeah. Talk to us about that for a minute.
Yeah. So what this revealed for everybody, and I was saying in this time, what's really true for people, either through perception or actual reality, has been coming up. And in this thing, people have been having fights with their identity, identity of what I'm capable of, what's possible for me versus what I just see, that 25-meter target in front of me that I know I can knock down. And so there has been when you say people have drawn back and stepped back, it's playing it safe, right? And it's like, well, I'm so thankful for this job. And you made a comment about maybe the thing was just to stay where you are. But imagine the new entrepreneur like myself who got told to move before the pandemic happened. And I love that about obedience, because if everything would have been revealed to me, I would have stayed somewhere where I was miserable.
Come on.
And so in this season, we all have to say what's true for us and then not question it and think about what's possible, right? When we talk about in coaching, the energy and the way that we attack things, right? You have the glass half empty or the glass half full. Let's just start with there's something in the glass. Let's start there. All right. Let's just start with something's in the glass. Right. And then that way you keep yourself in the right headspace, particularly when you talk about something like imposter syndrome. It's like, again, you're attacking your realities. You're constantly fighting with yourself of the realities. Like, guess what? The reality is you woke up this morning. You have breath in your body. And if you're grateful enough to have the use of your limbs, guess what? You have an opportunity to go after it. And so you release yourself to be successful in the present, not thinking about tomorrow, not thinking about the next move. Be successful now. Use what you have now. And that way you build those little W's. And that way, when you get those little W's attaching themselves, you begin to create what's real for you, what's true for you. And there begins to be identity. And again, Dr. Carolyn Leaf, I love her when she talks about mindset and different things like that. But the possibility mindset is so powerful, is because, again, you give the opportunity to use your creativity. All those things happen for you. In this season of life, crazy enough, my customer base has identified itself. What I'm supposed to be doing more often than not has identified itself, because I was being honest with what was true for me, not anybody else.
And you were using what you had. Now, let me be really, really clear right here, because there are some of us, and we discovered this in one of our masterclass sessions, that are dealing with different stages of what we call the wilderness experience. That's coming. Y'all need to get ready for that. But we were talking about the different phases of the wilderness experience. And the wilderness experience is a phrase that I coined and a concept that I coined that's talking about what happens when you feel completely, utterly lost, stuck. You've got stuff climbing all over you, like you're just completely underwater. Nothing looks familiar. Like that's that place. We've all been there. We got to the pandemic and all of us were having that wilderness experience at the same time. So it was hard to figure out who to rely on or what to rely on. We couldn't go to the coffee shop. Come on. We couldn't see each other and get together and hang out by the bonfire. We couldn't do any of those things. But what we realize is that everybody's at a different stage of the wilderness experience. And we're going to be breaking that down. But there are stages to feeling stuck. So for some of you, you still have not gotten there. You're still feeling a little drawn back. And that's okay. That's why communities like this exist, because we want to give you the tools and resources to be able to think about things in a new way. The reality is, just like Lawrence was saying, is that we've all had to pivot. We've all had to think about things in a new way. Kim was talking about, I think it was last live stream, the fact that as a farmer, she and her husband, Brian, had to think about things differently, right? As an executive coach, same with me, same with Lawrence, we had to think about things differently. There was a period of time where we had to wait. And as entrepreneurs, we ain't used to waiting. We're used to charging ahead, right? Like charging ahead. If it's not this customer, it's another customer, it's another client, right? You keep at it, but we all had to wait. I'm telling you, this is good stuff. Listen to me. If you're here in the comments, I'm just going to pop into the comments for just a second. Christy Kent just dropped a wisdom bomb. She said, yes, stop thinking like an imposter. Oh my gosh, that is so good. Stop thinking like an imposter. You might feel like an imposter, but it doesn't mean you are one. Stop thinking about like an imposter. Oh my gosh, you guys, Zach Knudsen is awake. Okay. He said, start with the glass. That's right. Lawrence reminded us to figure out how to communicate in the gap, in that space in between, right? Where we were normally accustomed to being able to drop by our customers, do all those sorts of things. We couldn't do those things for lots of reasons. And you know what? We all had to pivot. I'm tired already, y'all. Y'all are wearing me out. Okay, here's a question for you. Kim Dudash, I want you to answer this question for me. So we're talking about the step past the imposter syndrome. Yes. So let's say we finally get it and we say, yeah, okay, I've got the imposter syndrome. I'm dealing with it. I know everybody else is dealing with it. So I'm going to go do something courageous. I'm going to just take a little step out there and be bold, right? I'm going to finally reach out to that client who's been, kind of behind the scenes trying to figure it out. They start a project and then they pull back again. And that imposter syndrome rages again. It's that one step past where you feel like, you know what, maybe I don't know what to do next. And then we pause, or we stop, or we forget who we are, or we forget what we talked about last week in Monday Morning Jumpstart, whatever it is. There's that step past the imposter syndrome that feels like the bottom can drop out. Yeah. Can you talk to us a little bit? Has that ever happened to you? What happened, and kind of what are you using right now to move past that?
So, Karen, yes, that has happened to me, and I've felt that way. But I tell you what, I've spent a lot of time thinking about, for me and some of the clients that I've talked to, is that, once we've learned how to do something and we do it really well, we stop noticing how we do it, and we stop noticing what we have done to master it, right? And so then we start thinking, well, why would anyone want to reach out to me to help them with this? Because we get to that point where it has become natural for us and it's become easy for us. And we forget that not everyone is there. So even with just Monday Morning Jumpstart, these are things that we may have, like you said, we've gone through that stage of the wilderness and we are past it. So how can we use what we have been given, the knowledge and the wisdom that we've learned? So I just have to remind myself that, yes, I do have something that can help someone along, help them reach the next stage in the wilderness. And then, Pastor Andy said this last week, and he is so correct. We overestimate what others can do, and we underestimate what we can do. And so we start feeling, those feelings of the imposter syndrome start to show up. And I think that's when you have to sit down and start making a list of the things that you have accomplished. Write those out and celebrate them. And then you start to see, oh yeah, I do have the skills to do this. I am capable of carrying this off. I am ready to be an entrepreneur and move forward and grow my business. So we have to, we just have to remind ourselves of that. And I loved what Lawrence said. We have to flip the script. Right? Yeah. We have to develop a new script. We have to put those negative thoughts in their place and just keep moving forward.
Yeah, I love what you said. I love what you said, Kim. And I'm just going to remind my panel, not one of y'all is quiet. So I need y'all to jump in here when you want to. But anyway, I know you're trying to be polite, but this is not the time for polite. We got work to do. Anyway, it reminds me of what happened to me at the beginning of quarantine. Like I literally, I didn't show up online. I just kind of shut off my phone and I went in my prayer room and I'm like, I'm just going to go in my prayer room for a minute. I need a minute, y'all. And I was a mess and I could not get out of my own way. And as I got in my quiet time and my prayer time, thinking about what happened, I was not prepared for the world falling apart. And it was like the Holy Spirit whispered to me, hold on a second. So your theme is playing bigger. Things fall apart and suddenly you're not playing bigger. Yeah, you weren't ready to begin with. You weren't ready before quarantine. That's the message that I got, because the reality is that leadership happens. The beauty and the genius of leadership happens when things are hard. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Right? Being an entrepreneur is about learning to pivot, right? I say it all the time. I need to get my own t-shirt that says, you have options, right? We have to get creative. We have to rethink things, right? I mean, think about all of the products and services that never would have been created had somebody not gotten creative and not gotten out of the, oh, wait a second. The only way that we can produce communications is with a printing press. That is the only way it's done, people. I'm just saying. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
We would never have the internet. We would never have newspapers. We would never have any of those things. You got to get out of your own way. Okay. I've gone to preaching. I'm so sorry.
Karen, I just want to add something. There's a great quote by Nelson Mandela that I ran across over the weekend while, we were talking about this, but he says, there is no passion to be found in playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one that you are capable of living. How about that?
I love it. I love it. That is so good. Okay, listen, we've all been surrounded by bad news and it's easy to stay safe or stuck. Let's talk about some practical power plays to suggest for this community when real life scary shows up and causes us to question our value and worth. Coach Kim said she's got to constantly remind herself. Listen, you got to constantly remind yourself. You know how you see the basketball players and the football players pre-game and they're walking around with the headphones? I used to think they were being divas. I'm like, really, guys? Okay, you're getting paid like $1 trillion. And no, they're onto something, right? For all you athletes out there, I need y'all to chime in. You know how it is. You got to get into the zone to help yourself do something more and bigger. Come on. That's good. You got to get into the zone sometimes. Okay, Jeff Bull, let's talk about some power plays. When you get stuck, right, when you're in that gap, just past the imposter syndrome, you've finally stepped out, you're doing something courageous, and you freeze. What do you do?
Mm-hmm. Oh man,
I can't hear you, buddy.
I can relate. Oh, did I? Sorry, my computer's been a little slow this morning. I don't know what's happening.
That's
anyway,
okay.
It's a tough one. I've been dealing with this lately too. Most of you probably know this. My wife was diagnosed with a form of cancer about 2 months ago, so she's been in treatment for about 2.5, 3 weeks. And you compound that with obviously shelter in place and being at home all the time. And yeah, it's not great. She's got to get some rest, and I've got a 4.5-year-old plus work I've got to do, and so it's you mentioned it exactly, Karen. I had never done this before, and we all kind of learned this. I think at least Kim, Karen, we learned this in that live streaming challenge we did earlier this year. I had never thought about the idea of pre-gaming, like doing something to get yourself ready for whatever. And that's when I started. I was already kind of taking walks to get exercise, but it's a simple task. But I literally, I will go outside and just I'll go in the house, take a break from work for a second, or throw my headphones on and go take a walk around the neighborhood just to, put some good music on or put a podcast on. There's a couple of podcasts I love listening to, but I find that it's a perspective thing. And I think, Lawrence, you may have mentioned this a second ago. I think you mentioned the whole mindset idea. I am a huge fan of Carol Dweck's research and that fixed growth mindset problem that we all deal with, but we rarely ever think about. That has been my biggest sticking point. And I've noticed for a lot of people that I work with, that is their biggest sticking point, and they never notice it, that this is how I have to do it because this is how we had to do it. And they just keep sort of I just keep doing that harder, right? Like the joke someone told me recently is it's like, think about how Superman flies. How does he fly faster? Does he just kind of, does he just keep doing that? Like, is that what you're just going to keep doing every day? Is just, but if I just a little bit harder, something different will happen, right? No, of course not. Like, that's not how the world works. So the idea of shifting your mindset, even just a little bit, it's not some big existential thing. Right. Putting your headphones on and taking a walk around the block with a different kind of music than you have, pull in some bluegrass and just go walk around the block for a minute. Like, it is amazing how creating that sort of form of inspiration for yourself can change everything that you do. You just need to go do it. I think that is the hardest part for most people I talk to, is just doing that thing. Like, get up and go take a walk for a minute, because people are like, but I need to stay here, right? I got to keep the momentum going. And it doesn't work that way.
That's incredible. You said so much in that, find a ritual, find something that gets you outside of what you're feeling, right? We always talk about all the time being in our feels, right? Sometimes you just gotta get out of where you are. And that requires discipline, finding a discipline. That means you do it whether you feel like it or not. Here's the other thing that Jeff said, and Jeff knows that this is really important to me, is get out of your head, right? Like tell somebody. We all have more options than we realize. Many of you know my son broke his wrist last week. We're just getting ready to start with digital learning. My husband and I are literally pulling out our hair, what's left of it, trying to figure out digital learning while holding down, jobs, both of us. And 2 weeks into digital learning, he breaks his wrist. Oh, and by the way, he has to have surgery tomorrow. And so the weekend was rough. Last night was rough. So I look like I got it all together this morning, but all of this is glued together. I promise, including the lashes, all glued together. But you know what? As soon as I let somebody know, that big guy right there with the man bun and the wicked beard and his wife, my besties, called me and they were like, we got you. Get over it. Snap out of it. And that's what I needed, right? Sometimes we have to look around and see what resources we have. That's part of the wilderness strategy, right? Knowing that you have a tribe sometimes is helpful. It doesn't necessarily make things go away, but it's just like, okay, I got to trudge through this, but I got somebody who can carry my backpack for a minute. That's good. Good power plays. Okay.
Karen, I wanted to throw, if you don't mind, one other part of that. Yeah. There was one other thing I just realized, and I remembered this from when sort of shelter in place, at least in California, first happened. And then, of course, all the civil unrest stuff started occurring. At my company, a lot of people were hearing, I was hearing a lot of people online even saying this too, that we see all that's happening. We got to keep up our momentum though, because we don't want to slow down. We don't want to lose our speed or whatever they were trying to get at. And a number of people who work on my team and others that I was talking to were they were stressed out. They didn't know how to deal with that. And my comment was stop that. Don't tell people to keep up momentum. That is not helping anybody. You need perspective. The way you get that is to stop what you're doing and step back. Don't keep the momentum. The comments, this was fantastic. We're in a team meeting. And I was hearing this from a leader that I know who said, I know all this stuff is happening. I know it's tough right now. Companies aren't in the offices. We can't sell them things because they're not buying the blah, blah, blah. But we need to keep up momentum. I'm like, you just said, but you literally just told people, yeah, I told you these things, but forget all that. You still need to do this. It's like, how is that going to help anybody feel like they're empowered to go get the perspective they need to do what they need to do right now? And that wasn't a wake up call for me. When I heard that, I'm like, I went back to my team. I said, yeah, I literally said, ignore what that person said. Don't keep momentum. I'm like, don't keep momentum. Go home, take the next day or two off, go ride your bike, go spend some time with your family. Like whatever you need to do, like just do that. Like don't keep up your I hate that word. I've become like completely opposed to the word momentum at this point now, because every time I hear it, it's used in that context. And I'm like, don't say the word but, and don't use the word momentum because it's just dumb. Don't do that.
Well,
oh my gosh.
Well, and what Jeff is saying goes back to what Pastor Andy was saying. We have spent all of our time, you were talking about building the bridge, we have ignored, right? And so when you say, hey, just keep up the momentum, forget, Jeff's right. We have to step back, take perspective. And I think right now as a society, we're being forced to do that because we had a bridge built with toothpicks. Right. And we need to start building bridges out of materials that last. And so when we just say, oh, just ignore that, just keep going. Who are we kidding?
Wow. Oh my gosh. You guys are blowing my mind right now. Coach Jeff said, don't keep the momentum, get perspective. That is like the quote of this show. All right. Like, we don't need momentum. We need perspective. Kim, you guys are killing me. This whole concept of we built bridges with toothpicks, second quote of the show. That is absolutely amazing. And I want you guys to think about in your own life where you've built bridges with toothpicks and what steps you can take to now begin reinforcing yourself. We're talking about that space after the imposter syndrome where you go out and you do something a little bit scary, or you finally kind of get your grounding and then something comes back and says, boo, right? That gap afterwards where we say, now I'm going to look like an idiot. Like, I don't want anybody to know. So we keep on those masks we were talking about. Oh my gosh, like nobody wants that. And yet that's real for all of us. We're all dealing with that, or we have dealt with it, or we're going to deal with it. So I hope you guys are getting some of these amazing mic drops. Yes, Zach Knudsen, you were exactly right. Some of these amazing mic drops, because these are the kinds of insights and perspectives that are going to help us move forward. I want you to remember, if you don't have a tribe, build one. If you don't have a tribe, build one, right? Find people around you who can support you and encourage you. And let me just say something. I'm just going to rip this Band-Aid off right here. Some of you are depending on people who aren't dependable. Oh, I just ducked, right? Some of you are expecting things from people who were never intended to help you build the bridge. Oh my gosh, you need a new tribe. Or maybe you need to trust yourself. And if you're a person of faith, maybe you need to trust the God that created you to do what you need to do. I'm just going to walk away from that right there. Okay. What's keeping you inspired and encouraged right now? Jeff Bull, I'm going to start with you. What's keeping you inspired and encouraged right now? Where are you finding your hope, your foundation? What is it?
I don't want to say just the obvious thing. The obvious thing would be to say my wife.
Yeah.
But it's the truth. Not but.
Good.
There it is. It is the truth. She, no matter what she is dealing with right now, she still finds those pockets of time throughout the day to come out of the bedroom and like get out of bed for a little bit and be social and hang out. We did that yesterday with some some friends, socially distance and all that.
Yeah.
I would say second is realizing that I actually do have a community outside of my job, which has been the place that I like in my mind have lived my entire life. And I've always given like 80% of my entire being to whatever job I have. And in the last year or so, realizing that I have obviously a community that has nothing to do with the professional career that I have necessarily. And again, slow down and like take a step back and go, oh, this is right here. Oh, okay. That's kind of awesome. And I never let myself see it before this year and recognizing that that has been the biggest help for me personally, because I can dive into these other communities and recognize so much so that I can have my own passions and do those things. And it doesn't have to just be Jeff Bull, what I do with this job. It can be Jeff Bull, just Jeff all the time. Yeah. That's been such a huge help.
So good. Shayna Bull, we love you. And yes, she's awesome. I've never met her, but the little interaction that I've had with her, just by virtue of the fact that she's yours, means that we love her. And that's good.
She's kind of awesome.
Pastor Andy Smith, come on. What's keeping you encouraged? What are you holding on to right now? Like, where are you finding your hope, dude?
Well, to be honest, for me, it stems around my relationship with Jesus. And when I look at where we are as a culture and society, there are a lot of unmovable or immovable obstacles that I can't control. And there are a lot of circumstances that will be here today and gone tomorrow. So for me, I feel like society, and personally, I'm like a boat in the middle of the water in a storm and the wind and the waves. And so I'm just trying to grab a hold of and latch hold of the one relationship. And I find, I think why it's encouraging to me, and Jeff, it's brilliant what you talked about. I call it a healthy revolt without being disrespectful, right? Like what you're saying is, I honor the authority, but pause. We won't get to where you want us to go with what you've asked us to do. So perspective for me is stepping outside of my limited view and attaching myself to someone who has a more expanded view. And so for me, it's my relationship with Christ, because now I can see from a viewpoint that is unlimited, and therefore know these truths that help me navigate through this. Right now, when I'm social distanced, or when I've been forced to be quarantined, or when all of a sudden all the models and methods we used aren't even accessible right now. For me, the big world is the church has left the building, or the church is no longer meeting. And it's like, no, pause. The church hasn't moved, because if we build ourselves around an organization instead of an organism, if we build ourselves around a method instead of a mission, and if we view problems instead of staying attached to the purpose, we will always be victims of whatever has happened around us, is going on around us. And so for me, the only way to stay hope and encouraged is to keep, Jeff, it's brilliant what you said, constantly to that perspective that keeps my emotion. Karen, you said we got to get outside of our head. And sometimes I think we even got to get outside of our own feels. Yeah. Because to Lawrence's point, I got to coach myself. What's the greatest challenge of coaching myself is getting past what I already feel to unlock what I would think for somebody else. And so for me, it's just staying connected to that walk and that relationship with Jesus. So that's my hope right now.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Coach Kim Dudash, what's keeping you encouraged? What are you holding on to right now?
Well, Pastor Andy, I agree with you 100%. It's my relationship with Christ, number one. And I think just what gives me hope and excites me is just, honestly, I know there's a lot of tragedy going on in the world, but I see him working, and it's exciting. So that's what gives me hope and keeps me hanging on. And I think just community, like Karen, like you said, tribe, right? And for me, I mean, I'm one of those people that I'm a very private person. And so it's a lot for me. But I would like to just say that sometimes we allow, like we talk about those little gremlins on our shoulders. There's that little gremlin of shame that that keeps a lot of people from talking about these fraudulent feelings. They're like, you start to have that feeling that, well, nobody else is feeling like this. But the reality is, at some point in our lives, we all have these feelings. And if we will just reach out and find someone that we trust and talk to them about it. Yeah. Pastor Andy, I love what you said. We all have limited thinking patterns. We all have those limits. And so if we can find that tribe or that person that we trust that can help us get outside our own limited thinking, those are the things that I'm hanging on to. You guys are amazing. So,
yeah, I love all of what you just said, and an amen. That I think the power of community has never been important almost everywhere. Like, there's no space, I think, that's been untouched by that. Business, the faith community, the civic community is coming together in ways. And all of the stuff that's going on in politics, where there are plenty of people that are like, I'm not here for that, right? My neighbor is struggling and I'm going to go help them. I mean, there's so much good news. Can I just stop for a second and say, there's so much good news going on right now, you guys. If you look for it and if you give it, you will receive it, right? Stop sending me those videos. I'm not going to watch them. Stop sending me stuff that is, negative and all that sort of thing. No. Because I want to be a bearer of good news, and I would love some good news. So let's all of us in this stream commit to being that person that shares good news, that supports each other, that encourages each other, that tells good news stories, that reaches out and help. And everybody in this community is that. We've got Angela Karanja in the house. Whoop, whoop. We got another influencer in the house. She says the normal is not working, so taking those quantum leaps, absolutely. I absolutely love that. So I want to teach you guys a model. You've heard me talk about this before, and it's one of the things that I'm leaning on before I talk with Lawrence Henderson about some of the things that are keeping him encouraged, because this is what I do when I'm in that space right after the imposter syndrome and I feel a little weak in the knees, when I feel a little bit like a fraud. And the thing about the imposter syndrome is that, and this is a very important clarification, right? Because the imposter syndrome whispers to you, you're a fraud, and yet you have evidence to the contrary. True story. Just in case you were wondering, that's what the imposter syndrome is. You already have evidence that you're kind of awesome, right? In whatever way, you're kind of awesome. But the imposter syndrome says, you're a fraud, so you need to go hide, you need to stop what I'm doing. And here's what I do. First thing, get focused. Come on. Get focused. That's what Jeff was talking about, where sometimes momentum isn't what you need. Perspective is what you need. We're going to talk about that in the third step. But first thing is get focused. What's really important right now? This weekend, when we realized my son was going to have surgery, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I had an anxiety attack. Can I just be that honest with you, and you won't change how you think about me? I was like, oh my gosh, like my husband and I were up all night. Like, what are we going to do? And he's got assignments to turn in, and things are showing up as unmarked and undone, and da-da-da-da-da-da. All these things going on. It's like, hold on a minute, get focused. What's important? What's most important? My son is what's most important. True story. My son is, I will cancel whatever I need to cancel to help my son succeed. Get focused. That's what I had to do, right? Everything else gets delegated or gets canceled or rearranged or whatever. Get focused. What is it that you need to do to get focused, right? In the moment. Okay, we're in quarantine. Get focused. What's most important right now? If you've lost your job, got it. You want to go back into your field of choice? Got it. What do you need to do to get focused? Second, connect to your purpose. What were you born to do? What is it that makes you you? Jeff Bull, what is it that makes you you? And here's the thing. Your purpose translates from your personal life to your professional life to your community life. Come on. And so on and so forth. Connect to your purpose. Third, develop perspective. Develop perspective. What's your perspective? So the way that I say it is perspective is the anchor that holds you when the winds of life and career blow. The storms, quarantine. What's your perspective, right? For some of us, it's the books and, things like Dr. Caroline Leaf. And what's the other one who talks about vulnerability? Brene Brown. And, for some of us, it's our faith. For some of it's our family. My husband has been my rock, you guys, my rock. We look at each other and literally put our fists up and it's like, okay, come on, we got this. Come on, I need you to snap out of it, right? Whatever that is. Sometimes it's building a tribe if you don't have, what's your perspective on things? Because you can't rely on all the stuff that's going on out there. The storm will eventually pass. So if you trust in the storm, come on, you. If you trust in the storm or you listen to what the storm is saying, you're not going to make it, boo. Develop perspective. Get focused, connect to your purpose, develop perspective. Lawrence Henderson, what's keeping you encouraged right now?
I love everything that everybody said, and I love those three mic drop moments. And again, one of the things that I'm excited about in this season is the ability to communicate in context. And I know we talked about perspective a whole lot, but particularly as a Black man in America, we talk about the bridge with toothpicks. What I'm finding in coaching and in business conversations, we haven't been communicating in context. And so when Pastor Andy talked about the two polar opposites of the way that we've been communicating with each other, it's because we've been seeking to be understood first and then deciding on whether or not your perspective is good enough for me. And so when you're not communicating in context and then clarifying your understanding of what someone said, that's where we've been missing each other as it pertains to communicating with empathy. And so everybody's been trying to be right. And so when we talk about this season of, imposter syndrome and understanding of identity and all these things have been coming up for people, it's again, everybody's been holding on to their truth from their tribe. And so when you talk about getting clear about who your tribe actually is, it's can you and your current tribe, and I love Kim had brought up the word. It's like y'all been teeing me up. When you talk about trust is I want everybody to do an exercise. So a power play that I've done that has broken down and made me get really clear about who's closest to me is I did an exercise with list the top 10 people you trust. And then look at how different or the same they are. And I guarantee when you look at your top 10 people that you say you trust today, and then we want to have a conversation about equality, about race, about all these other things, you'll really see how much of a good conversation you actually want to be in based on the people you have closest to you. And so one thing that came up for me as it pertains to what excites me and why I'm so excited about what the future looks like for me, my family, and the people closest to me is seeking to understand, am I surrounding myself with people that are polar opposites of me so I can gain their perspective, but also can I have conversations in context with them? And again, something around privilege, right? Some people are having an economics conversation. Others are having an access and advantage conversation. And again, nobody's saying you didn't work hard for where you are. Nobody's saying you didn't go through a lot to get to where you are. But can you understand the context in which I'm using words and perspective and all those things? And so what excites me is getting into it and getting really granular, having clarifying conversations where we are communicating context so that, again, I can respect your perspective. I can hold space for your perspective. I can hold space for what's true for you. And so coach me gets pumped about stuff like that. Oh, I get it gassed up for these types of conversations. And so, I'm so pumped about having context conversations. And it starts at the house, right? The first ministry I have in my life is my wife. And guess what? I don't get it right. Got it wrong this morning before this call, right?
Come on, we're here for you, brother.
Right?
We're here for you.
But it's one of those situations that I'm here for it. All right.
Yes.
It's the closest person to me, the closest relationship, the truest relationship I have in my life. And if I can't do this one right, I can't expect to do any other right. Right. And you said connect to the source, because gotta connect in, gotta plug in to get filled back up.
Come on. Now you got me going. All right. Now here's what I'm gonna drop right here, because here's what came out. Here's what came up for me when you said that. And so we're about to go in. Now we're almost an hour in, but we're about to go in for real right now. So one of the things that came up for me is something that has happened to me during this time when so much is going on, and people, it feels like we've got a menu of things to argue about, right? I mean, pick something, right? And somebody's going to find something to argue about, and that causes us to withdraw further. But let me tell you what terror tries to do, because that's what COVID is. It's terror on a stick, isn't it? It comes and it tries to disorient you. I'm just going to break it down. Call it good and evil, God and the devil, whatever you want to call it. But this is what it tries to do. It tries to create the shock and awe effect so that you're disoriented. You don't know what to do. Then it causes you to retreat in fear, right? But one of the things that I've recognized is that some of the people that I love the most, I've had the most intense reactions from in all of these things, whether it's race or quarantine, mask, no mask, school, in school, no school, groceries, toilet paper or no toilet paper, like pick something. And the most intense reactions have come from people that I love the most. And here's what I've decided, and I want to challenge every one of you to do the same. I refuse to go to war with people that I love over stuff that tomorrow the flavor's gonna be different, right? Yes, people are gonna have different perspectives. But Lawrence, what came up for me was the tendency is to shut people down, right? You don't believe what I believe, or you don't share what I share, or whatever. You did call me, you didn't call me, you brought me toilet paper, you didn't bring me toilet paper, whatever it is. I'm not going to go to war over that, because what that says then is that you're my source or they're my source. Come on, this is big girl and big boy stuff. Okay. We can't do that, right? We all have to hold our own. We all have to contribute, whether it's at work, whether it's at home. Come on, Lawrence, that's good. You got stuff. You have to have conversations in context at home. Oh my gosh. And figure out how to have peace. You got to figure out language that says, you know what? I don't agree with what you're saying, but I respect what you're saying, or I honor what you're saying. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm preaching again. I'm just going to step back. I'm going to step back. Okay. Let's pop into the comments real quickly. I want to thank all of you that are joining us on the live stream. We have so much to talk about in this topic of imposter syndrome, but guess what? It's going to get better. I want to share with you some of the things that are going on. First of all, did you guys know that we have a YouTube channel now? We got so many requests for to be streaming, for people to find us outside of Facebook. So now we're streaming to YouTube. And so I'm really excited about that because it's a brand new space for us. Now, YouTube presents its own imposter syndrome challenges, because now you've got like everybody watching you, and people can pop into the comments and say all kinds of crazy stuff. But I want y'all to know I'm not here for it, because I'm going to show up anyway, because that is my calling right now. And all of these beautiful people on here are going to be joining me, I'm hoping, in the future. I'm just saying, hint, hint. We'll talk about that later. But they each have amazing work that they're doing. So I want all of you on the panel to go around and just remind us where we can find you, where we can find your genius. Jeff Bull, go. Where can we find you, buddy?
You can find me everywhere at Jeff Bull Tech. So Jeff Bull, TECH, whether it's on YouTube, all the social medias, jeffbulltech.com. Pick one. I'm there.
Awesome. We're going to do it. I want all of you to go and follow Jeff Bull Tech today on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Okay, follow Jeff Bull today. One of these days, we're going to do a giveaway for people that follow our tribe, our squad. I don't know. We're going to figure that out. Okay, go follow Jeff Bull. I think, yeah, Sarah, if you can put it in the chat. Oh, by the way, can I just tell you, I have an awesome team. My team is more awesome than yours. We've got Sarah Fruman in the comments. She is our community manager, and she's killing it right now because we've got so much going on. She's amazing. And we have Vanessa Aliaga, who is our operations manager. And I just want y'all to know, you're welcome. She keeps my life on track. I can do nothing without her, and I'm no longer allowed to touch my schedule. I'm just saying. Okay, Andy Smith, I'm not coming to you right now, but you're going to close us out with some thoughts on kind of where we're talking about right now. So I'm just preparing you. Kim Dudash, where can we find you?
All right. Well, I'm on social media too. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, at Coach Kim Dudash is my little hashtag, right? Yeah. And LinkedIn also. And then my website, dudashexecutivecoaching.com. And if you're interested in the farm, you can find us at dudashfarms.com, or you can even follow our Facebook or Instagram page at Dudash Farms.
Awesome. Kim is an executive coach extraordinaire. She does amazing work with leaders. She has several certifications. She does workshops. She's an amazing keynote speaker. She is the person to call if you are looking for support for your leaders. So whether you're looking to work with an individual or a group, I need y'all to go follow Kim Dudash, Dudash Executive Coaching. She is everything. And I'm telling you, if you've got some leaders that are needing support, this is the lady to call right here. I'm telling you, she's awesome. Love you, Kim.
Thank you, Karen.
Lawrence Henderson, the doctor.
Yes. Thank you so much.
I need to know where we can find your genius.
Yes. So Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Boss Lab. It is BOSSLLAB. And LinkedIn, full government name, Lawrence E. Henderson Jr.
Lawrence E.
Yeah, Lawrence E. That's my sister. So sister from another mister, you got it right on the first try. Get to my website, www.bossconsultingllc.net. Also on YouTube at Boss Lab. And also, if any of you, the panel, and anyone out there who's a coach, who's a speaker, anything like that, your brother from another has gotten access to do LinkedIn Lives. So let me know if you want to go live and other things like that. So the community is hashtag winning. So we're doing great things out here.
Awesome. I love it. You got another awesome executive coach and speaker. Let me tell y'all, I'm serious. If you need a virtual speaker, this guy right here, Lawrence Henderson, is everything. I'm telling you, you need to look him up. Boss Lab. Yes, indeed. LLC. We love you, Coach Lawrence. Thank you so, so much. All right. We've saved the best for last. Pastor Andy Smith. First, where can we find you? And then I want you to leave this amazing community with some wisdom on kind of that space after the imposter syndrome. Like, what do you got for us?
Andrew B. Smith. That's where you'll find me on all the B as in boy.
Social channels,
and
okay?
I need some of your team members to help me. I'm just simple when it comes to that, but you can find me there. It's that's where I'm at on Instagram, Facebook, Andrew B. Smith. A couple of thoughts, Karen, just kind of in response to what I've heard today. One, I love, Lawrence, the brilliance of conversation and context. You can't judge the content of somebody until you understood the context in which that content was delivered. And with that, I think that bridges back to the perspective conversation. And Jeff, by the way, I like Zach's recommendation, Jeff Bull Momentum, as your new.
I love it, love it, love it.
I'm going to go daddy right now. I'll be right back.
That's a vote. That's a vote for me. I'm voting for that. But regarding perspective, Karen, when I get stuck and I have that crisis, all right, I know the imposter syndrome is happening. I always have two conversations. I have one with somebody who will fight for me as a person and someone who will fight for my purpose. Because what I have found that if I only listen to the one that'll fight for my person, subjective, they're going to be more concerned about me than what I'm trying to be for. And then I need that objective. So when you get perspective, there's always subjective counsel and objective counsel. And when they meet together, kind of overlap, I know now I've got the full weight of perspective, because I need somebody, because if I'm not careful, I will abandon myself, which seems good, but sometimes there needs to be someone that just gives me a little check about me and cares about me. And so I tend to always, when I'm trying to find purpose, I do not listen to the first counsel. I try to make sure that person that's going to fight for me, that loves me, cares about me, that I've gotten vulnerable with, that is always going to be watching over to help me. And then someone that's like, remember, this is what you said, this is what you're about, this is your purpose. And so I think that gives me a healthy perspective, because if I do not do that, and if I fail to make those decisions of perspective, what will happen is, what I'll find is there's no enemy outside of me that will sabotage me like the enemy inside of me unchecked. Because I alone have ultimate authority to stop walking towards what I believe I'm supposed to accomplish. And remember, this is I think this is a spiritual principle, but it's a natural principle. There really is no obstacle that can stop me walking through the door that's open for me, and unless I stop walking. And the only person that can make that decision is me.
Come on.
Right. Remember Edison said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I just found 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. All it took him is that one time to figure it out. And so, lest we all stop, remember, the greatest enemy that'll stop me from what God's called me to, or what I'm inspired to do, or what I'm endeavoring to do, is not the enemy outside. It's the enemy within.
Wow. I just need a minute, y'all. I'm soaking it in. This was so amazing. I want to thank all of you in the live stream who show up. Some of y'all show up every Monday, like clockwork. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so thankful for Pastor Andy Smith, Jeff Bull, Lawrence Henderson, Kim Dudash, this amazing squad. Christy Kidd said we should take this on the road. I know, right? Maybe that's in our future. Who knows? But here's what I know. I love this community, and I love the fact that we get an opportunity to support each other during this time. We've all got stuff going on. We all can be wrapped up in our fields, but we've got each other. And to me, I think what Jeff said is so important. Just remembering, hold on a second. Okay, I'm okay, right? I may not figure it out, and it may not be perfect, but I've got a tribe. I'm not alone. And I want to remind all of you that you are not alone. You don't have to go it alone. You can find us at rockyourvision.net. You can find us on Facebook at Rock Your Vision Community, or IG at Rock Your Vision. And then you can find us on YouTube as well. We want you to connect with us. We just posted some stuff on the website, rockyourvision.net. More free resources are coming to help support you during this time. You've got all of the social media tags from this amazing community, and we're going to be doing some master classes going forward. And I'm hoping that this tribe, this little squad right here, will be joining in the awesome sauce, because we want to support you during this time. We know this isn't normal. And I have to tell you that each one of these leaders could by themselves charge full market rates. But you know what? They're showing up. They're choosing to be here to support all of us, because that's who we are and that's what we do. So I want you to remember that you've got more options than you realize. We want you to share this live stream, because there are other people who need this, right? We try to give you some power plays that you can use right now. practical wisdom that you can use right now. So we're getting ready to sign off. We're way over time, but it was just too good to stop. And we want to thank you so much. Beverly Wilkes, Seth Freeman, thank you so much for joining us. Awesome. We're glad you're here. Oh, and by the way, remember, t-shirts are coming, our fall t-shirts. They're amazing. They're sports shirts. All of my amazing guests are getting one. The guys have a gray one. The girls have a purple one with sparkle because that's just who we are. But anyway, they're going to be amazing. Hey, Debbie Hatch. Awesome. So good to see you in here. Okay, you guys, I need y'all to go out there and remember, you've got more options than you realize. Don't forget about your community. Get out of your head. Get out of your own way. You've got this and we've got you. We'll see you next time. Panel, hold on a second. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.